I believe, to Reuters, and we're looking at a number of things. Mortgage rates dropped last week. Spike. This is from the National Association of Realtors. We usually go to them. The average fixed rate mortgage reversed course this week, falling after having soared to new heights for 2015 last week. Freddie Mac reported the following averages with mortgage rates for the week ending in June 18th. The 30-year fixed averaged 4% with an average of 0.7 points, dropping from 4.94% last year. This time, the 30-year rate averaged, 4.17. The 15-year mortgage averaged 3.23% with an average of 0.5 points, dropping from last week's 3.25. A year ago, it was at 3.3 there. The 5-year hybrid adjusted mortgage rate averaged 3% with an average of 0.4 point, dropping from last week's 3.001. Last year, the 5-year ARM averaged 3%. So you can see, sort of back there, the 1-year ARMs averaged 2.53% with an average of 0.2 points, holding the same as last week. A year ago, the ARM was at 2.41%. And that is from Freddie Mac. Sort of moving around a little bit here. We thought we would touch on that. Apartments, occupancy soared, are filling up nationwide. These are flats. The May rate historically is the start of each year's occupancy peak, meaning occupancy should remain at the current level. Higher, that is from Stephanie McCready at Ecnomics, vice president. Higher occupancy rates come with higher rents. Rents rose, this is 5% in May nationally, making it the fourth consecutive month at or above. And this is something we look at also. Apartment demand has been up for millennials who are forming their own households, as well as baby boomers looking to downsize. And Lori Goodman, she is at the Urban Institute, recently published a paper that rents surge will only get bigger. Goodman predicts out of 22 million households formed in the next 20 years, 13 million will be renters. Very interesting situation there. And that was some of the home that we found, actually, from Reuters. And let's see, housing recovery has been uneven. U.S. permits for future housing construction surged to a 8-year, this is on the housing side, 8-year high in May, a sign of backed up momentum. But housing starts fell. Permits driven by multifamily construction jumped to 24.9%, while single-family permits, the largest share of the market, increased only 2.9%. And now these multifamily apartments, the share of housing stock is reflected. Building material companies have fared better than single-family builders. They're benefited from multifamily construction aimed at renters. This is back to that. Construction material suppliers, Vulcan Materials, rose 35.8% so far this year. Home improvement and building products from Masco is up almost 10% there. And if we look at some of the indexes here, the broader PHLK housing index, and various other, including builders, building products, and mortgage companies, up 7.8%, but down 2% from the high in April. That was in May. Medium homes become less affordable for medium families between 2014 and 2005 as prices rose. That was there. Millennials, those born after 1981, are entering the market most slowly than their predecessors. Only 34.6% of millennials now own homes. This is the lowest percentage for U.S. residents under 35 since the Census Bureau started releasing age-related ownership in 1982. Entry-level buyers cannot afford new homes because builders are concentrating on constructing high-end houses. They are out of their range rather than building so-called starter homes. That is from a housing research center in El Paso, Texas. Alex Byron, he's the founder, senior researcher there. As results, sales volume is about half of where it should be. And some behind that, the next data is expected out, and this will be from the realtors. Home sales climbed 4.4% in May after falling 3.3% in April. New home sales are seen rising at 1.5% on the top of April's 6.8% increase based on, that's Reuters polling. New home sales are set to be released on Tuesday. On the S&P, home builders there, D.R. Horton and the Pelty Group are expected to post sharp gains. They build more substantial houses. The shares of home builders jumped after KB Homes posted stronger than expected quarterly earnings. It sold more houses at higher prices, and that is part of the trends within the economy itself. You're going to see more and more higher prices. This is a headline in Reuters, Investors' Eye Improvement in Data for Housing Stock. And this is one of the things coming out here. And we'll go now to Greece. And to do that, we'll go to the BBC and get the latest on that particular market, which is not going, their negotiations are very, very hard. There, let's get Greece first, and then we'll go to the problems of UK. And first headline is here: Belgian unblocked Russian accounts. Russian state's accounts froze by Belgian in a move condemned by Moscow. So they've now unfroze these accounts. And let's just get this story in before we move to these other. The assets that were seized in a move triggered by a court ruling over the default of Yusko oil firm. This is in 2014, an international arbitration court said the Russian officials have manipulated the legal system there, and Belgium seized assets there, and France also state accounts in about 40 banks along with several buildings. It's not known if these assets will be unblocked, so there's sort of a go-around there that the Russian Republic has been fighting for a very long time here. Now this is to Greece. Angela Merkel, she is the German chancellor, has warned there will be must be a deal between Greece and the creditors ahead of Monday's emergency EU summit Otherwise, she said, the summit would not be able to make any decision. Greece, of course, has less than 2 weeks to strike a deal or face default of the 1.6 billion euros, and that is 1.1 billion pounds. That's an IMF repayment there. The European Central Bank approved more emergency help for the banks. The amount of extra cash has not been official. There are fears the help of Greek banks amidst reports of more than 4 billion has been drawn. In other words, the old-fashioned run on the banks. Russia said it would be considering granting a loan to Greece if asked. In other words, the Russian Federation is getting in where others are not. The European Commission, the IMF, and the European Central Bank are unwilling to unlock bailout funds until Greece agrees. They want, of course, a series of economic changes in areas such as pension, VT, value-added tax, and budget surplus, releasing 7.2 billion of funds, which have been delayed since February. The emergency summit of leaders from the Eurozone will be held in Brussels. That'll be on Monday, tomorrow. And Reuters reported the withdrawal by Greek savers between Monday and Friday reached 4.2 billion euros, which represents 3% of household and corporate deposits held by Greek banks at the end of April. Surprising they had that much money. Close to 1 billion euros were withdrawn on Friday alone. That's from a financial website, Euro Today. Greek deal or no deal, option 1, no deal. Greek defaults on the IMF and the European Central Bank repayments. European Central Bank pulls plug on emergency assistance, leading to a run on Greek banks, capital controls, and potential Greek exit. Option 2, Greece agrees to reform deal with creditors, which is highly unlikely. At last minute and avoids default, stays in euro. Option 3, no deal reached and both sides paper over cracks and Greece stays in euro for now. So in other words, it hasn't went anywhere from last week. The Prime Minister, Alexis Trapalis, on Friday said there would be a solution to the Greek debt crisis. The Eurozone Leaders Summit is a positive development on the road towards a deal, as Travis said. Others who are betting on the crisis and their scenario will be proven wrong. He added there will be a solution based on respect of EU rules and democracy would allow Greece to return to growth in the euro. Palace said economic foreigners in St. Petersburg in the Russian Federation on Friday with a delegation of ministers and leaders. Athens said funding would come from Russia's State Development Bank. At the forum, the Greece and Russia signed a memorandum extending the planned Turkish stream gas line to Europe through Greek territory. So the Russian Federation is moving in here, and of course, again, they both use the Cyrillic alphabet. Throw that one in. Greek will not accept cuts to pensions, and they should not. Our public sector wages, 2/3 of the pensioners are either below or near the poverty line. International creditors want pension spending cut by 1% of GDP, which accounts for 16% of Greece's GDP. European officials have agreed to budget surplus targets of 1% of GNP this year, 2% in 2016, 3.5% in 2018. Greece said nothing is agreed to until everything's agreed to. Creditors also want a wider value-added tax. Greece said it will not allow extra vote on medical things and electric bills. So there's some things here that are not negotiable. How this will play out, we'll tell you in the weeks that come. let us go and check on our time here. And we'll